What's up, everyone? So we're smack in the middle of the NBA free agency. KD requested a trade, and as you can see on the screen, this is a blockbuster four-team trade idea to send KD to the Suns, Donovan Mitchell to the Nets, Ben Simmons to the Hawks, and DeAndre Ayton to the Jazz. So KD demanding a trade. So the Suns are one of the destinations that maybe he could go there. Donovan Mitchell, the Jazz just traded away Rudy Gobert. Pretty sure if the Jazz remain adamant in rebuilding around Donovan Mitchell, maybe I'm not sure if the Jazz can let go of Donovan Mitchell. But in this case, Donovan Mitchell goes to the Nets. Ben Simmons gets traded to the Hawks, and DeAndre Ayton to the Jazz because apparently the Suns don't want DeAndre Ayton, and DeAndre Ayton doesn't want the Jazz. So let's just get into it. So the Phoenix Suns. Let's start with the Phoenix Suns. The Phoenix Suns received Kevin Durant, a 2028 first-round pick swap with the Jazz, favoring the Jazz, and a 2023 second-round pick via Atlanta. That's for the Phoenix Suns. Then the Brooklyn Nets, they receive Donovan Mitchell, John Collins, Mikal Bridges, DeAndre Hunter, Onyeka Okongwu, 2025 first-round pick via Phoenix, 2027 first-round pick via Phoenix, and 2029 first round pick by Phoenix. So you can see the Phoenix Suns are giving away 3 first round picks in this, and the Brooklyn Nets are going to be a recipient of that. Then the Utah Jazz received DeAndre Ayton, Cam Johnson, Day'Ron Sharpe, 2023 first round pick by Phoenix, 2028 first round pick swap with the Suns, favoring the Jazz, and the 2029 first round pick by Atlanta. Then the Atlanta Hawks received Ben Simmons, 2024 second round pick by Phoenix, and 2025 second round pick by Utah. So that's your trade idea. Honestly, I feel like this is an even trade and everyone gets what they wanted, and this is actually a very good. I've seen a lot of trades that have been trade ideas, but I feel this is the more realistic, especially with KD having a 4-year 198 million extension. They need to find a way. The any team that is going to partake in this, they need to find a way to fit that KD max deal within their salary cap, and I feel like this trade is actually evenly balanced. So the Phoenix Suns get their superstar. Kevin Durant coming to the Phoenix Suns will allow him to team up with all-stars in Chris Paul and Devin Booker, immediately creating a new big three in the West. This makes sense as he will have joined a team that has the talent to do it. They have been in the finals, and they can maybe KD can be that piece that moves them up the edge. There's no doubt that there are cons in this trade for the Phoenix Suns. They'll be giving away basically all their picks and a lot of crucial depth, but most notably DeAndre Ayton, who they didn't want to give an extension. So yeah, that's something else. That's something that it's amazing to me because all the guys that were drafted with DeAndre Ayton was picked number 1 overall in the 2018 draft. Trae Young, Luka Doncic, they just received max deals over like 200k. That's not 200k, 200 million, and DeAndre Ayton is just there looking funny. The Suns don't want to give that man that max money. So, however, sacrificing all that could potentially be worth it if the team ends up winning a championship. CP3 gets this championship. The Phoenix Suns go to the finals in 2021, but ended up losing in 6 games to Giannis and the Milwaukee Bucks. Getting a star like KD will prevent that from happening again. And even though the West Finals will be tough next season, the West Conference and also the West Finals will be tough next season, the Suns will have a good chance of getting back to the finals and winning it all. So yeah, that's the main thing. The Suns and CP3 especially need to get to the finals and win. At the end of the day, this decision for the Phoenix Suns is simple. There's a superstar in KD that's willing to join the team and make this team a contender. It makes sense to move mountains to add in. Perhaps we'll see them end up doing so. So that's a potential trade idea. Then for the Brooklyn Nets get a huge haul in return for KD and Ben Simmons. It was recently reported that the Brooklyn Nets are interested in acquiring Donovan Mitchell. This package will give them the ability to have him as their next franchise star, while also adding young players that can help them retool and stay competitive. So the Brooklyn Nets notably have no incentive to tank as for their next as their next few picks go to the Houston Rockets due to the James Harden trade. So yeah, totally. This package features the Brooklyn Nets getting Donovan Mitchell, Mikal Bridges, John Collins, DeAndre Hunter, Onyeka Ogonku, and a multiple slew haul of first-round picks from the Phoenix Suns. So Donovan Mitchell is a transcendent scorer, while John Collins from the Hawks and Mikal Bridges from the Suns are both solid role players who can space the floor and play some good defense. So those are a couple of 3-and-D players. John Collins in particular has shown that he can thrive in a bigger role in the past, while Mikal Bridges is an efficient offensive player, might I add, who has shown some ability to get his own shot. So DeAndre Hunter is a good two-way player, and Onyeka Ogonku and the first round picks could be extremely valuable in the future, especially if you want to pull the trigger to get like another star, maybe in the trade deadline. So they can utilize some of these pieces to do that. There's no doubt that this trade will immensely benefit the Brooklyn Nets. Generally, teams never win when they have to trade a star, but getting an all-star in return, as well as some elite young role players with upside with the best, is the best return that you're going to get. So the picks from Phoenix will be valuable down the line when the team is not contending, and this sets the Nets pretty well in the futures. Especially the Nets, they just need to rebuild. With the whole Kyrie Irving situation, Kyrie, being so shaky and wavy. So pulling a trigger on this wouldn't hurt them. So the Utah Jazz are getting a package headlined by Durant Ayton. The Utah Jazz will be trading Donovan Mitchell in this scenario after trading away Rudy Gobert to the Minnesota Timberwolves and getting a huge haul in return. They already traded away Rudy Gobert, and it makes sense for them to enter a rebuild. Donovan Mitchell seems like he'll be the next domino to fall, and this trade will move him out of Utah, and return package will feature DeAndre Ayton, Cam Johnson, Deron Sharp, multiple first-round picks from the Atlanta Hawks and the Phoenix Suns. They will notably get the 2029 first-round pick from the Atlanta Hawks and a 2028 swap with the Phoenix Suns. I mean, both of which could end up being extremely valuable down the stretch. So, as for the players in this deal, the biggest draw will be DeAndre Ayton. He's an elite two-way big man who the Suns have refused to give the max deal, and just wanna let him walk. Who has star potential if given more touches. He is athletic and a great skill set in the post and elite defensively. He has even shown traces of a jumper from the mid-range area. Cam Johnson, potential six-man will be a candidate. Will be an elite 3-and-D player. They could sign him to a contract when he becomes a restricted free agent, and then trade him down the line depending on the stage of the rebuild. So he's also a trade bait. Deron Sharp will be a project big man for them. So they can down the years, maybe they can utilize him in the trade deadline, or try to mold him into a star player. So that's the Jazz. Overall, this trade could get the Utah Jazz in the lead center and their next franchise cornerstone, as well as draft compensation. They have a lot of picks from the Rudy Gobert trade, and it's quite possible that when they will be back in contention soon, they may have been able to draft and develop players. So this is a good deal. The Utah Jazz should just nuke everything, just trade away Donovan Mitchell. But hey, I mean that's the Utah Jazz for you. Then the Atlanta Hawks create a big three. This trade will be an opportunity for the Atlanta Hawks to add talent at a low price. Donovan Mitchell cannot be traded to the Brooklyn Nets due to CBA rules preventing a team from trading two players the designated rookie max contract extension. Perhaps the Atlanta Hawks will help facilitate the trade between the Utah Jazz, the Brooklyn Nets, and the Phoenix Suns by acquiring, Ben Simmons. The main pieces that the Atlanta Hawks will have to give up in this scenario are John Collins, DeAndre Hunter, Onyeka Okongwu, and a 2029 first round pick. Obviously, losing DeAndre Hunter will hurt, as he is a solid two-way player, and a 2029 first round pick end up being very valuable down the line. So Onyeka Okongwu is a promising center as well. However, John Collins has been frequently featured in trade rumors in the chopping block, and it is clear that the Hawks want to move on from this power forward, especially after giving him that 5-year, 125 million max deal. So it didn't turn out well, especially in last year's free agency. The chance to acquire a three-time All-Star in Ben Simmons could be worth it, as the Hawks have made it clear that they want to compete, and may have only a window to this one window to do it, as they have paired Dejounte Murray, not Jamal Murray, Dejounte Murray next to Trae Young. So Ben Simmons will be traded to a team that he choked to last postseason. So that's interesting. There's no doubt that a big three of Trae Young, Dejounte Murray, and Ben Simmons will be enough to compete in the Eastern Conference. Ben Simmons and Dejounte Murray will become a menacing tandem on the defensive end, making up for Trae Young's deficiency on that side of the ball. Otherwise, Dejounte Murray and Trae Young could do the most of the offensive load and allowing Ben Simmons to take a defensive role and not forcing him to become a scorer. And this would be utilizing him at his strength, because this guy can't even shoot a jump shot or even shoot a free throw to save his life. Hopefully, Hacker Ben doesn't carry on here. They will have to sign some shooters to ensure that there's enough floor spacing in the roster, especially with Ben Simmons' inability to shoot. That will be a problem. But this seems like a good way for the Hawks to improve defensively and talent-wise. So that's your trade, man. This article is by Fadeaway World. It's actually pretty interesting. So I feel like every team get what they wanted. The Utah Jazz are able to move on from the Donovan Mitchell, Rudy Gobert era and usher in DeAndre Ayton as their star guy, and they rebuild around him, and also getting Cam Johnson and a slew haul of draft assets and that they can use to rebuild. They can give DeAndre Ayton a chance. Then in the Brooklyn Nets, they get the star that they need, assuming that they trade away Kyrie or do something to Kyrie, or even like cut him from the roster, and then they build around Donovan Mitchell and having John Collins alongside him, Mikal Bridges, DeAndre Hunter. They can do something in the Brooklyn Nets. Then the Phoenix Suns get their scorer in KD, who they'll pair with Devin Booker and Chris Paul, so it can push them over the edge and be able to be legit title contenders. And the Hawks, they get Dejounte Murray. Now they get Ben Simmons, Dejounte Murray, and Trae Young. So the guy who's moving, Ben Simmons. So they get their defensive presence inside there, and hopefully Ben Simmons is able to recover from the demons from what the Atlanta Hawks did to him, especially in Game 7 of the East semis when the Sixers matched up against the Hawks. So yeah, hopefully he can be able to overcome those demons and be able to beat the Philadelphia 76ers when they meet them. So yeah, so that's your trade. That's your trade idea. I'm not sure if this trade can be done, but honestly, this is the most realistic way that the team that KD can get out of Brooklyn, because a team cannot trade for KD straight up, because KD is a player that will cost a team about it's either he did 6 players on 5 first round picks, 4 of which are 2 which are unprotected, 2 protected, and 2 pick swaps. So 4K for one player, so that's a lot. So a 4-team trade is ideal. That's an ideal situation for KD, and every team gets what they wanted. The Brooklyn Nets get away from the Ben Simmons shenanigans that he carried from the Sixers. They take that problem to the Hawks. DeAndre Ayton, he parts from the Phoenix Suns, and the Phoenix Suns disrespected him, not giving the max deal. Then Donovan Mitchell, most notably, he gets away from the Utah Jazz, especially with their choking ways, and he's not always underachieving, especially in the playoffs. So he goes to another area code where he can do it. So your main guys are just happy, and honestly, if I'm a GM for either 4 teams or an insider, I'll be pushing for this trade to happen, and I'll be trying to convince these guys who are in the front offices of each of these 4 teams to pull the trigger on this, because this is the only way that every team just walks away happy. So that's my take on this, and it's just quite interesting to see this 4-team trade for especially this is just giving me like memories of the way James Harden went to the Nets from the Houston Rockets. It was also a four-team trade like this one. So yeah, and yeah, that's my those are my thoughts on it. And I like this trade. It's actually balanced, and everyone gets what he wanted. And yeah, I'm out. I'll see you in the next upload.